Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sports Lounge here on this wonderful Thursday night. It's Thursday, right, guys? Or
Yes.
Tuesday? Shit, I don't know. Anyway,
Yes, sir.
so want to thank everyone for hopping on here, and also want to thank our sponsors. We have Number One Sports Fan located here at Tulare, Visalia, and Hanford. We also have Cali Built Graphics that take care of all of your shirts and decal needs. And last but not least, we have Black MP Living Water. Just hop on to blackmp.com, type in the promo code The Sports Lounge, and you receive 35% off of your order. Other big announcement. Actually, I'm not going to make that announcement until we have it official. But we'll go ahead and go forward in tonight's show. We are going to be talking about the NBA as the season is done. But let's hop right into it, man. Hey, so how's everyone doing this week so far?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Working, tired.
Life sucks. Work. I hate being an adult. I'll just say that.
Nothing sucks. Always.
Hey, so obviously we just had the NBA Finals. We're going to hop right into it and just make it pretty simple, short, and sweet. The NBA Finals finished up, and we saw, as my prediction has come true, the Boston Celtics going to be hanging up banner 18 after only a 5-game win. I'm just saying I was right. I don't say it very often, but I'll say it again. I was right. But definitely, so what did you guys think of that series?
I just feel Maverick should have showed up at that last game. I don't know what happened when it came to that, but even though I hate saying you're right. It depended on role players, and Maverick really didn't have a role player to come out and actually after Kyrie and after Luka. There wasn't one other person that would hit at least 20 to 30 points that they needed to keep the game going.
That's the biggest thing. You got to have those role players. I mean, we knew that. I mean, Jalen and with both Jalen and Jason, they did not put up their season averages. They were still a dominant force, averaging 20 plus a game, but they were able to get those role players involved. Porzingis, he was out for game 3. But you saw what he was doing in the first 2. I mean, it makes a big key factor when you got someone else. Yes, you can stop 2 guys, but if you don't have a third person to stop them, and that's what happened. All you had to do was shut down Luka, shut down Kyrie. That was my personal opinion on that one. Luka, yes, he did play great, but what was up with Luka in the finals, though? He could not he forget that he was supposed to play defense?
Yeah, that's the way it looked, man. I've never seen somebody get exposed so bad like that. I don't know if he's just concentrating so much on offense or what his deal was, man. But that he didn't have much help. But that's pretty embarrassing. And if he wants to be in that conversation with some of those greats, especially even the greats right now, the best players in the league, he better step that D up.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing that I saw. The defense was so weak that I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow, how are you? He was falling for everything. He couldn't get a lot of things under control. I mean, and then fouling out.
Right.
That just shows you all he cared about was scoring. Because Luka doesn't foul out. And I mean, I don't think he fouled out maybe twice all season, 2 or 3 times all season long. So he's one of those guys. So that either shows he was trying to rely too much on his defense, or B, he was just getting smoked so bad it was ridiculous. But, I mean, let's be honest, he did not fare well. I mean, he did have 28 points in the last game, but again, he had 7 turnovers. So, I mean, we saw, what was it, game 4 was when he fouled out, which is when they actually won.
Right.
That's the crazy part. Luka fouls out and they win the game. So what does that tell you is wrong with that situation? But the other thing, like I said, 7 turnovers from Luka in game 5. I mean, I'm sorry, you're not going to win nothing if you have 13 turnovers in the game.
Right. Let alone 7.
It's 7 from one player. Yeah, so that was a big thing. Jaylen Brown, like I said, he only had 21. Tatum had 31. That was the only game out of all 5 games they only had one player, which was Game 5, and Tatum scored over 30 points. So they were spreading the ball evenly. Derek White, Drew Holiday, Porzingis, all those guys were putting their parts. The biggest key factor, I think, was, like I said, Porzingis Game 1 and Game 2, the injury occurred. He ended up sitting out rest of Game 3, didn't really play, and he only played 16 minutes in Game 5. So he wasn't a factor. But Drew Holiday, though, man, a defensive specialist, and he showed up and showed out. You know, do you guys think that the Celtics have a team that can repeat?
I personally do, Mark. I do, man. And the reason I'm going to say that is, I mean, their third leading scorer was Porzingis during the regular season, right? 20 points a game, I think, or 21. I'd like to
21.
know, you know, I probably should have done my homework before I came on here, but the last time a third scorer was 20 points or more, I would have to, I mean, everything happens, you know what I mean? And you always find out it happened more recent than you think. But I don't remember the last time I remembered a third leading scorer being over 20 points for a team, especially a team that goes to the NBA Finals and wins. So if he comes back healthy, I mean, if he would have been just healthy-ish to play the whole series, I mean, they won in 5, so how much better could you be? You win one more game, you could sweep them. But you know, the addition of Holiday, man, that guy's a stud. That guy plays defense, and that guy can be your third leading scorer when Porzingis was out. To me, that team is just too good. They exposed the Mavericks. Kyrie was missing in action most of the time, and Luka he's just not ready to carry it all himself yet, I don't think. But it's still a very good team. Boston's just a very, very good team, and it showed. And I mean, as long as there's nobody leaving, I want to say Horford probably right off into the sunset. But you know, what's the difference? They don't have to worry about anybody down low. So you know, run back the same guys and go for 2.
Yeah, to me, that's a big thing. You don't have to worry about worrying about a big post guy like you did back in the day. You know, Horford gave you a body, but the big thing, as long as you got smalls, and that's what they did. You know, when you're running with a Drew Holiday, Tatum, I mean, realistically, Tatum basically is playing a point forward, just like Scottie Pippen did back in the day. You know, so you got a guy like that. But with Derek White, Drew Holiday, like I said, Jaylen Brown's actually listed as a forward, even though most of the time he was playing shooting guard. And then Tatum, like I said, is normally your number 3, and he was lining up as a 4. You know, so if you have a smaller lineup, like you can do that. I mean, we saw what the Warriors did with that lineup. They won how many NBA championships running to basically Draymond was their starting center?
4.
In all reality. You know, I mean, so that's today's game. That's what it is. And so they did get some nice play, you know, as long as they got some minutes off the bench from Porzingis in Game 5 like they did. Plus, they also got 17 minutes from Sam Hauser. So as long as you get those guys and get some rest, then you're good to go. That's going to be your biggest thing. You know, and Horford, you know, Porzingis was only there basically when Horford needed to take a break. So, but yeah, you just have a big issue. I mean, and they're relying on the 3. Like I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the stats right now. 37 3-pointers shot by Dallas in Game 5. 37. But then there was 39. I mean, does anybody not know how to shoot a jump shot anymore? Down low?
They don't go for
Dunks to 3-pointers.
Yeah, the game shifted to 3-point.
Yeah, the mid-range has been up minutes since Curry came in.
But let me jump in. So I've been hearing you guys chat for a minute about the game. What I thought about the game was that a lot of times that the Mavericks had it close. I think it was like Game 2. There was like a crucial foul that should have been called, wasn't called at the end of the game. I think it was Jaylen Brown had a foul. They didn't call that game. They lost the game. They lost that game. Luca fouled out with 4 minutes left on the clock. There were 3 points behind, and they were actually on a 10-0 run at that particular time before he fouled out, and they lost that game. And then they won a 50-point game. So that's 3
38.
games.
38.
Okay, 38. 38 game.
Felt like it.
Yeah, 38 point differential game, and then lost the last game. So realistically, yeah, they won the championship, but it doesn't really show really the characteristics or what the Mavs really they put in, because the focal point was all about the headliners, the focal point, and everything was around the 18th banner. Jalen and Jason, who's going to get the MVP, who's the better player. Let's try to break them up. It was mostly focused on the Celtics. There was nothing really focused on the Mavs. Kyrie, didn't show up in multiple games that they had lost, but the games that were close, he was in it. Luka didn't play defense this last series, but not an excuse at all. He should not played, but he had a rib injury that he had, and he also hurt one of his ankle. He had like a rolled ankle in one of the games as well, and he still continued to play. But that's no excuse. If you're going to be out there, then you need to play, but let there be, a healthier, we're talking about if they're going to repeat, let there be a healthier Luka, let Luka play a little bit more defense. Obviously his defense wasn't there. And then their schemes, a lot of their schemes weren't there that they had against Minnesota. And I think that hurt them. They did not adjust at halftime, which was a big thing. They adjusted all season long, all the way up into the finals, but they didn't adjust when it mattered the most. When there's 4 or 5 minutes left on the clock and they were only down by 10, they could have easily climbed back and win the games, and they just didn't. They didn't capitalize on that. But it was definitely a learning experience for the Mavs. It kind of showed us who they are, what pieces they probably need to add to that team to make them a force. Can the Celtics make it all the way back? I don't see why not. There's nobody on the East. Like, are we really having that conversation if they're going to make it to the finals? There's nobody on the East for them to play against. Until they make forces on the East, there's really nobody to play against. And then if you look at the West is so stacked, we really don't know who's going to make it back on the West, though. That's the problem. The problem is the West is so talented and heavy. I mean, who are the obviously the Warriors are going to pull in somebody to get better. Obviously, the Suns are going to pull in somebody to get better. Your Lakers are obviously going to do some type of movement, or LeBron is gone. You're going to have, the Minnesota is still going to be there. They just traded. You're talking about Alex to the Thunder, so that makes the Thunder even better as far as IQ. Well, Giddey didn't have they didn't have the IQ. That boy can play as far as IQ, get the ball in the person's hands that needs to score and do all that. We're talking about Alexander, who should have won the MVP this year. If he had somebody in there that had veteran experience, that team didn't have veteran experience, or a lot of first 1 or 2 year old players, where if you put some veteran presence to understand the game a little bit better, I think that team could have went a little bit further. But it's heavy over there, very, very heavy on the West. So if we're talking about East versus West, there's no reason why the Celtics shouldn't be there. Kudos to them. They hung up the banner. But do I see them winning the finals again? That's a whole different conversation. I don't see them winning again. They could make it if there's no movement with Miami. There's no movement with the 76ers. No movement with Milwaukee. Making sure they're all healthy. But if there's nothing going on over there, I see them going straight up. Pacers will be a little bit better, but I don't see them really. I don't see any. Well, New York too. Let's not forget about the Knicks. The Knicks had how many? Was it 3 or 4 players that are starters that were out? The Knicks might be, 3 players that are like legitimate players that could change the game. So, but still, as a complete overall team, the Celtics is a complete overall team when healthy. Like I said, they were struggling without a Porzingis. They had to find ways to win, and if that's how they're going to be next year, that's a little concerning for me. Porzingis has to be healthy, just like AD has to be healthy, just like Embiid has to be healthy. These players have to be healthy for them to be a legitimate team to win a final championship. So that's my little spiel on the NBA.
That's a good spiel right there. I mean, it's all valid points, especially the whole thing about the East, comparing the East to the West. I really do think they need to take it to 4 divisions in the East and the West instead of this, this way there's just 8 divisions, split it up. I mean, because realistically, you got 15 teams in each one right now, and they were supposed to get 2 more once they go to this these 2 expansion teams that they're going to end up getting in the next couple of years. You're going to see a 4 division setup, 4 in each one, just like what baseball's done.
And they already said that Minnesota is going to the East, just because of their schedule and everything like that. So that makes the East a little bit more challenging on that side.
Because
the other team will be the expansion team, but I think
that's going to be Vegas.
Yeah, on the East, that would be crazy.
No. The expansion team that's going to, because you got 2 teams that's going to be coming in.
Vegas and Seattle.
Yeah.
Right.
Supersonics.
Which are both West teams. So they're going to move. They're going to move 2 of the teams from the West to the East. Which one of them is Minnesota. Who else?
That
is
Minnesota
on the West
move is big. That Minnesota changes a lot of things.
You'll see Minnesota and then probably New Orleans, either New Orleans or Memphis.
Memphis, maybe. Yeah.
Probably Memphis. Yeah, I can see Memphis going that way, which would make it a little bit more challenging. Or make it a little bit more difficult because Memphis with Ja Morant and what they got going on, they could be a high caliber team. They could, if they pull in another piece, they could be, a defensive piece. They could be really electrifying. So, but I agree with Terry. Terry said that that Minnesota move is going to be major, and so adding them to the mix is going to be crazy. But yeah, Las Vegas will be there, and the Seattle Supersonics. And if the Seattle Supersonics become an expansion team, Kevin Durant says he wants to retire there. So, yeah.
Kevin Durant needs to retire anyway. He sucks. Freaking Shrek-looking fool.
Couldn't win.
I feel like yeah. Anyway, but so obviously we got that with the NBA. The other big news, we heard you talk about it, Mikey. They announced that the Bulls are trading Alex Caruso to OKC for Josh Giddey. The Pistons have fired Monty Williams, who they ended up convincing him to come up with Phoenix, and Detroit managed to screw up again. They're great at screwing things up in the NBA ever since going back to the bad boys and also the new age bad boys, with Chauncey Billups and Ben Wallace. But so they fired Monty Williams today, and they still owe the man $65 million. Boy, that's genius right there. Great job on that one, Detroit. Good luck at trying to put a team together. But the big news actually is just like we have JJ Redick has been announced as the new head coach for the Lakers. It has not been official, obviously, because he hasn't signed it yet. But basically, they are going to be hiring him, which we all know it's just going to be LeBron running the team once again. I have a real hard time about that when Jeannie Buss actually said that she was going to get rid of the entire coaching staff. I mean, LeBron's still there, so I just don't understand. She didn't get rid of everyone. Just saying. Do you guys think JJ Redick is a rookie coach? We know this. He's been an analyst for a couple of years. He has never coached he's never coached in college. He's never been a coach, period. And to say, hey, we're going to go ahead and hire him. He's going to be our head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. How big of a joke do you guys think this is? Is this LeBron's way to say that you're going to do what I want? I mean, everyone's calling
I don't.
it.
No, I don't think it's a joke at all. I mean, if you look at a list, if you pull it up right now, Mark, of first-time coaches, you're going to see Steve Nash on there. You're going to see Jason Kidd on there. You're going to see a lot of these other point guard heavy guys that never had experience in coaching at all. And we just witnessed Jason Kidd making it to the finals with JJ Redick.
Hold on a second. Jason Kidd wasn't a first-time coach. Jason Kidd coached the New Jersey Nets.
Oh yeah,
Jason Kidd
Well,
was also
He's also an
I'm
assistant
talking
for
about.
Lakers.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm talking about this guy has never coached anything, not even high school basketball.
Yeah, pull it up. Pull it up. There was a list that they put out today. But
I mean, everyone's going to be a
pulling
first-time Indian.
as he's pulling it up, I would say this, that you got to get somebody. Was Ty Lue on that list? Anyways, so he's trying. Basically, LeBron is trying to find somebody that he can mesh with. Period. If you watch anything with the podcast, JJ Redick does have a great brain and a great IQ. The boy, he played professional basketball. That gives him some type of credibility, right? So making it to the league is not easy, and so having that type of mindset, and then going to being an analyst and breaking down film on a daily basis to come up with how they're running schemes and how they're doing that. And he had experience in that, and then moving into a head coach position. I don't think that that's a negative thing. I think that's a positive thing. I think that is he going to be the greatest coach of all time? No. Is he going to make the playoffs? I think so. I think if they put the right team together and him and LeBron break things down, I think that they could run the right type of schemes and the right type of things to make sure that they win more games. Coach Ham wasn't that guy. He wasn't that guy who was going to adjust or break things down or be able to, listen to LeBron, And so with those type of teams, that are star heavy, the coaches have to be able to be gelled with those star players. If you don't get that, that's why you have a moving around Kevin Durant. So we have a move. That's why Curry has so much influence on Steve Kerr. That's why you have Giannis, who kind of runs the team as well. Embiid gets pissed off or whatever. These star players. It's not just LeBron James. It's in the league. Period. And so I think it would be an okay fit. I think the UConn coach would have been better, but I mean, you're going to get what you're going to get. And I say, let's run it. Let's see. We won't know until after the first season if this is going to be, legitimate or not. I mean, I can't knock somebody for something that I have never seen before.
Here's my thing with that whole situation. To me, it's just a skeptical. It's just a show. I think it's a joke. I think it's ridiculous. If you want to sit there, and here's the catch, and there's a reason why they don't do it. They will not do a player coach, even though we all know LeBron is running the team. A lot of people don't realize that player coaches have happened in the NBA quite a few times. And what a lot of people don't realize is Bill Russell,
It's a long time ago, man. You're talking about 60s, 70s.
I don't care. It's
a
still
long
been
time
done.
ago,
No, here's the catch. The reason why they will not do it is because you go ahead and you say, hey, LeBron, you're going to be our player head coach. And then when they suck, what can they do? I can't sit there and say, hey, I'm firing the coaching staff. I'm sorry. It's going to look like it's a skeptical. It's going to make it look like a circus. So what they do is they get someone like JJ Redick. They get someone like Darvin Ham, Tyronn Lue was the coach before. Okay, Joe Mazzulla just won the NBA championship, youngest coach ever at 35 years, 353 days. Youngest coach since 1970. The youngest one before that was Bill Russell, and that was because he was a player coach. He had to beat by 2 years. Joe Mazzulla, also though, never played in the NBA, but has coached. He was an assistant. That's what I'm getting at. You're getting a guy, don't get me wrong, JJ Redick does a great job being an analyst. He does a great job breaking down the game. You can do that when you play it. It's very simple to do. I sent you a video, Mikey, about Dan Plesac, former Major League pitcher. Hey, you're going to throw this. I can do that all day long. I'm fantastic at it. But when you play the game, it's easy to analyze the game. Tony Romo in the NFL. Boy, I can sit there and listen to Tony Romo up there. Couldn't stand him as a quarterback. But I'll tell you what, you want to listen to him call a game, he's going to tell you exactly what, hey, this is what cover they're running. This is what you need to be throwing. You should be looking at this route first. This is your secondary. This is your third look. That is the problem that I have with this. The Lakers are making a skeptical out of NBA coaches by saying, hey, and we all know, we all saw it. LeBron gets pissed off. It's not what he wants. What does he do? Him and AD get up and walk out of it. To me, I'm sorry. I might suck, but I'm not letting that happen on my team. To me, that disgraced the Lakers and every player that has ever put on that uniform. And I can't stand the Lakers. But with what LeBron and AD did, along with Reeves, that was a joke by walking away from their coach.
Well, here's the thing, Mark. I want to see what Dupree thinks about this, because I'm not going to speak too much on the hiring part. I agree with Mike. I think you're going to wait and see. But I want to know Dupree's opinion here, because I think the guy that didn't get hired, that didn't accept the job, is bigger news than the guy that did. There was a time not that long ago when the Lakers brought you in for an interview to head coach. You didn't say no. There was no. If they chose you, you said yes. Dan Hurley turned down the most glamorous job in sports as far as coaches. One of the most glamorous, if not certainly the most glamorous in the NBA. There's no better head coaching opportunity than the Lakers. You get all the deals. You get to live in LA. He turned them down. We can speculate on the reasons. I think we all know, but it tells you he was the man for the job. He is the guy that will come in hard-nosed. He will tell the players what's what, and I think we know that there might be some guys that don't like that. He walked away. That tells me, even though we can all kind of see it with our own eyes, that franchise is in a bad spot. Dupree, what do you think, man? Am I overreacting?
You're not overreacting, because they've been in a bad spot since mostly since Phil's left. They've been in that bad spot. You haven't seen them get anywhere since the 2021 and COVID, and that was only because a lot of people started leaving and not obeying the rules during COVID. And now bringing in JJ Redick, don't get me wrong, he was a great player. He played with the Olympics. He played with that team for the Clippers that almost could have won if it wasn't for all the racist stuff with Donald Sterling. But that was that with that, and with Stephen Curry being the better player. So it's just that he's not a coach. Like, yes, he could be that person to be a rookie winner like Steve Kerr and Jason making it to the finals, but he's still not a coach. They need an actual coach to get to championships. We're not here trying to only get to the in-season tournament. Lakers hang banners just like Boston. We keep going up and up and up from 18, 17, 16, and so far and so forth. That's been the biggest rivalry in NBA forever, since Magic and Bird. So you don't bring in a rookie coach to a big-time league just to be like, oh, hey, we're back again. Like, could they make it to the playoffs again? Yeah, of course they could probably make it if they brought in the right people. But we don't want to go on a coulda, especially when we've been winning championships all day. That's like,
yeah, I got two things. I got two things for you guys. You guys can answer this. The first thing is I want to respond to what Dupree said and what you guys are talking about as a rookie coach. If the whole player coach is in effect, and LeBron is the player coach, and you have a JJ Redick who comes in that gels well with him, and they run this thing, and they win, are we still having the same conversation?
I still feel like we still do have the same conversation because
My question is, here's my question. If you run, we all know LeBron's running the team. Who gets the credit for leading the team?
LeBron gets the
head
credit no
coach.
matter who the coach is. LeBron gets the credit no matter who the coach is. That's just a fact.
That's
JJ
what the joke
Redick,
is.
Dan Hurdy, they all got to take a step back. But who's it going to be? Who's going to get him there? You know what I mean? I agree. I think it could work out. I absolutely think it could. Now, when it doesn't, yeah, obviously it's going to 20 hindsight's 2020. So, but I agree with Mike as far as connecting those two guys. If him and LeBron are literally, for lack of a better word, connectable. I mean, do they know each other that well to where they got a good rapport, and LeBron can get AD to go along with JJ Redick? I think it's possible. The problem I have with it is that yeah, it's a buddy thing. And if it works out, great. I hope it does. As a fan, as Laker fan, I hope it works out. I don't like the fact that that turned him down. He had a much better offer than JJ Redick did, and he turned down. He walked away from it. That worked.
He walked away, guys. He walked away from
that there's a lot going on.
He walked away from $50 million.
He was going to get about 12 or 13 a year, something like that.
He walked away, and he stuck with UConn for $30 million. The Lakers offered him freaking $90. He turned. I'm sorry, I'm offered $90 million to go coach the Los Angeles Lakers. That just shows you I'm not dealing with LeBron's prima donna bullcrap. So you know what? I can't stand.
And that's what I'm worried about.
I cannot stand UConn. I can't. Yeah, you know me. I will live and bleed the Tennessee ball orange. I have a lot of respect for Bruce Pearl. I have a lot of respect for a lot of those coaches that coached in Tennessee. But for what they've done, so he's like, I'm going to go ahead and turn down this $50-60 million more over this term because I don't feel like dealing with LeBron. I heard Snoop say this the other day, and he said they asked him he was on one of these podcasts, and they said, all right, Snoop, you got the chance to talk to Jeannie Buss and say, hey, look, what do the Lakers need to do? And you know what his answer is? We need to get rid of some of these old dogs. That was his answer. We need to get rid of some of these old guys. We need to get rid of LeBron. We need to get rid of an AD. These old guys, because their attitudes are what's bringing you down the teams. The Lakers, yes, did they win during COVID? Yeah, they did. A lot of people were breaking the rules. A lot of people you weren't playing with full rosters, all that crap. I'll never count the NBA championship. I'll never count the MLB championship. None of that stuff. I don't care who won it. I do not care who would have won it. To me, it doesn't count. To me, it's the same exact thing. Is you might have just said, hey, this is a strike shortened season. We're not playing. That's my answer to that.
A lot of money left on the table.
There is a lot of money left on the table. But where was the money at? It was for the teams because it sure didn't. It's like they didn't get the revenue from ticket sales because nobody was in the stands.
Yeah.
So you can't say that. It was all TV ratings. So that's where they got it. Now that's my big thing. And so it just shows that the attitude and the persona that the Lakers are having because of guys like LeBron, because of AD, they do not have respect for their superiors as the head coaches. And to me, when you're going to go ahead and bring in a guy you have a podcast with, and all of a sudden you get named, it's like, oh, Dan Hurley's got to turn us down. Guys, we offered Dan Hurley $90 million to be our head coach. You just led UConn to back-to-back national championships. And his answer is, we're better off going for a 3. He flat out said on national TV, they're better off going for a 3-peat than helping the Lakers win the NBA championships with the supposed GOAT. So I'm sorry. LeBron needs to get the heck out there. He is a great player. He is one of the greatest of all time. He's not the greatest. He's not. And the whole ordeal with Bronny, You know, basically like saying, look, the Lakers have the chance now to go ahead and draft him. Bronny James averaged 4.3 points a game at USC. He is not.
Well, yeah. If they're going to draft him, we don't know if they're going to draft him or not. The coaching decision is the big one here. I don't know. I think we all take a vote right now if they're going to be a success or not. But like Mike was saying, you don't know yet. And it depends on what moves they make. If they make any in the offseason, it's going to make a big deal. Coaches, to me, I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you guys and everybody that's watching, whoever that may be, coaches are overrated, in my opinion. Overrated, especially in today's game. I don't know how many plays they're actually calling up, drawing up on a clipboard. Those days are long gone. Those clipboards are bogus. They're just there for show. The players on the court are who decide it now. And a lot of these players want a buddy of theirs coaching the team. And we're seeing that more and more and more. It may not be successful yet, but it has happened in the past a little bit, as Mikey was talking about. So it's a wait and see kind of thing for me. I would have rather had Dan Hurley, and it worries me that he said no, that he turned him down. So now I'm stuck with Redick, and we'll see what happens.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing too is Dan. Man, this is so okay. So Dan comes in from winning a back-to-back championship with kids that is growing, wanting to get better, and it's an achievement of himself. Then he walks into a Laker team that is not. It has nothing to do with Dan. It has everything to do with LeBron's legacy. So it could be It could be a personal thing as well, because again, whose name stamped is going to be on that? And like you said, no coach name stamp is really on there. When really did they talk about the coach with the Celtics? Because I heard them talking more about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and then also talking about Jrue Holiday winning 2 championships. Then they mentioned they even coach. The only time they mentioned him when they brought him up for the ceremony for the giving him the trophy, he had a couple of words right there, and that was it. The rest of the tabloids had nothing to do with the coach. So again, that could be a personal thing. Here's a question that I have for everyone, and it's mostly directed towards Mark, because Mark's the one that mentioned it about coaches in their first year and then not believing in a coach coming in if they've never coached. Okay, you sat up here and you said that you will sit there and you'll listen to Tony Romo. You listen to him all day long because he calls up the plays or what's going to happen before it happens and how they should run the team and what's going to happen next. So are you going to sit up here and tell me the same thing, that if McCarthy ends up losing his job and they offer a job to Tony Romo as a head coach, that would be a bogus move?
I think it would be a stupid move.
See, I don't understand how both of those make sense to me. You just sat up here and said,
But you like his analysis, but you don't think it's real?
I don't think a person should be pulled out of a booth as an analyst that has zero coaching experience and say, yo, you're going to be our head coach. Now, I'm not saying you don't bring in and say, yo, we're going to go ahead and give this guy an assistant coach or an offensive coordinator position or something like that, and then work your way. Okay. Now, you talked about, Mikey, about the list of coaches, that first-time coaches that were given an opportunity. I got the list right here. Okay. We have Steve Kerr. How many championships?
I'm going
to go off of his first year.
No, not just one championships.
Oh, he's got 4.
Because you were talking about what the topic is that first year coaches can't win. It's bogus. It's crazy. So obviously, not making it to the finals. This is not what it's all about. Is making it to the championship. If a first year coach could make it there. Not make it in the NBA. Any coach right now, if you put them as a first year coach, they will make it in the season. They'll make it to maybe a playoffs. But let's talk about championships. So starting with Steve Kerr, how many championships?
Well, he has 4.
Okay,
but let's talk about first year. Did he win an NBA championship in his first year? Did they win in 2015? They had a great record. They had a great team.
Did Michael Jordan win in '86?
No.
Okay, I mean you can't judge
Who was
a
his
man.
coach? Who was his coach? Doug Collins.
So you're saying when Phil Jackson, the only reason why Michael Jordan won his championship was Phil Jackson and Scottie Pippen.
Michael Jordan won those NBA championships because Phil Jackson was a great coach.
And he brought in a new scheme, was a triangle offense.
You are correct. But what I'm trying to get at, so Steve Nash, another, when he was with Brooklyn, winning record. Okay. Jason Kidd, winning record. Isaiah Thomas, 500 record. Larry Bird, winning record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 first-year coaches. Never had any type of coaching experience before. 4 have a 500 winning percentage record or better. Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas was at 500. Jason Kidd, not even Jason Kidd. Steve Kerr and Steve Nash.
And then Jason Kidd this year made it to the championship.
It wasn't his first year coaching. He coached at Brooklyn. That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm talking about a person who has never coached a game, was never an assistant, was never a player coach, no coaching experience whatsoever, come in as a head coach like they're doing with JJ Redick.
Well, then you got to look at two variables. Then, what team are they acquiring? Who's on their team? Who are they acquiring? And then number 2, the process. So if we're not looking at those two variables, what are we really talking about here?
Okay, you can talk about the variables. Let's talk about the variables. Yes, you're getting LeBron James. Yes, you're getting Anthony Davis. Who else are you getting? You got 2 guys that if they don't get their way, they're going to throw a little temper tantrum just like they did with Harvin Ham and walk off the court.
Do we know that yet?
We saw it on national television.
No, you're talking about this year.
This year, we saw 3 players.
2024, 2025 season. Let's stay on topic. We're talking about JJ Redick. Okay.
JJ Redick, like I said,
we haven't seen it yet.
Of course we haven't seen it yet. That's the whole point. This is a prediction. This is not. We can't analyze the situation that hasn't occurred. But what I'm trying to get at is you have first-year coaches that have never coached in the NBA. It has less than a 30% success rate.
With teams of what they acquired, who did they acquire? Will any of them acquire a team that had made it to a playoff and is actually competing for a championship?
Isaiah Thomas did.
And he went 500. You said he was a 500 coach, right?
Yeah, he was a 500 coach. And Larry Bird had led them to the NBA Finals the year before. And he finished 500.
What's your thoughts, Terry?
As far as the first-year head coaches, yeah, I don't like it. Which obviously he wasn't their first choice, though. Obviously, I mean, Dan Hurdy was their first choice, so they didn't go after this. Honestly, it shows me that if Mark's prediction and Mark's theory is correct, that LeBron's holding the strings, then LeBron must have wanted Dan Hurdy as well, because they wouldn't have interviewed him if he didn't. The problem I have, whether it was LeBron's idea or not, whether LeBron bought into it or not, Dan Hurdy said no, and he is a coach, a proven coach. That tells me there's a problem, and I'm not going to get as crazy as Mark is on that problem. We all know what the problem is with LeBron, with AD, and then buying into the coaching style of whoever they have. Because what are they going on now? Their 4th coach or 3rd coach. This will be their 4th or 3rd. That's a problem. And the only issue I have is that people didn't used to turn down the head coaching job of the Lakers. When they went after somebody that they wanted, they got him. And whether or not LeBron signed off on Dan Hurdy, I don't know. but I don't like the fact that he turned it down, because that tells me even him, like you say, he was offered a ton of money. He said, no, I'd rather stay here and coach kids, which there's plenty of coaches that have done that in the past. They're just better off coaching kids than they are grown men. And I think the NBA is the hardest group of grown men to coach in all of sports. The egos are massive, massive, massive. So I don't think that's odd for someone to say I'd rather stay in college. But it's the Lakers, man. It's the Lakers. And you are 2 players tops, maybe even 1 player away from being a serious finals contender as the Lakers team is. I mean, as much as we want to hate on LeBron, or people want to hate on LeBron and AD healthy, LeBron healthy, and a third scorer, that team is a finals contender. That team right there easily wins a game against Boston in the finals. Easily. They easily go 5, 6, if not 7 games, because it's matchups. And I see them being closer than a lot of those other teams would for a first-time head coach. JJ Redick could ride a nice little sweet little wave right into the Western Conference Finals again, as the Lakers have done, with not much of more help. You know what I mean? Now it's a tight division. I get it. It's a tight conference, but he could squeeze in there. He doesn't have to be Phil Jackson. He doesn't have to be a great coach. He's just got to let the guys do their thing. Now, that's not what a head coach is supposed to do, but we're in 2021 and 2025, man, or 2024 season, 2025. It's a different league. The head coaches don't crack the whip anymore. They don't run the show like they used to. Some of them are a little more hard-ass than most. Popovich is probably the last of his kind, that really disciplines players. It's a players' league. The players run the league. And I don't hate the hire. I just hate that the number one guy they wanted turned them down. That worries me as a Laker fan. So
I think the bigger question is what you just said a while ago. I don't think none of this has to do even with the hire. I think it's who are they going to pull in so that the matchups are what they need to be so they can make it all the way to where they need. Because listen, I guarantee you they beat Denver with Dwight Howard. If they would have brought Dwight Howard back, or somebody who was a bigger body force, if they had like an Embiid or like a Andre Jordan, or somebody like a big body like DeMarcus Cousins, somebody like that at the 5, I think it would be a whole different game, and they would have went a little bit further. So I think the bigger question is what are they going to do with this offseason? What trades are they going to make, and who are they going to pull in to make things happen? Because now, honestly, they have assets now. They can get rid of Rui. They can get rid of Vanderbilt. They can get rid of D'Lo. They can get rid of these guys in a package deal and pull in somebody like a Trae Young, or like a DeMar DeRozan, or a Jimmy Butler. There's names out there that they could pull in a third piece. Even Paul George is looking for a new home, so they can pull in a third player and switch up the whole entire game. And but really, I think it's more where can they find who is a center right now that they can find that can spread the floor. Because if they can't find a center that can spread the floor and bang in the paint, then that's what's going to be the toughest thing. If AD is going to go to the 4, then they don't have to worry about that. They just need to find a big body who can bang in the paint, like a Lively, like a if they could get like just a big body in there. You know what I mean? They'll be all right.
An Al Horford type, a veteran big body, yeah.
Yeah, and they'll make it. They'll make it. So that's what it's going to come down to in the West, and it's going to come down to beating the Celtics. You could see that the paint. It was just unsecure. They'll get to the rack real easily. And then the 3-ball, right? Who's covering them on the 3-ball, because they live and die by that damn 3. The Celtics, they could have lost a lot of games because they went 0 for 100 in the first half, and then all of a sudden they caught fire in the second half. But I think that's what it comes down to is what you just said, Terry. I don't think it's even the coach hire. I think it's more or less what players are they going to bring in on this offseason and what trades are they going to make so they could be legitimate.
Dupree, take that last word, man. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm with it. He says that because like you do need to bring in the right people when it comes to it. The coach thing really, like Mark said, it just seems like a spectacle because you want somebody that you do can mesh with, and that's what it's been when he's put with these different coaches that just became players. They all retire and then they become coaches of teams they used to play for. When it comes down to it, so it all depends on who you get.
With Dan Style, then he needs to go to the Detroit. He needs to go to Detroit Pistons. He needs to go to a team that he could develop and grow and make it his name. Then he needs to go to places like that. But he's not.
Yep.
He can't go to the. He can't go to the Suns. He can't go to the Mavericks. He can't go to the Celtics. He can't go. The list goes on. Denver and all these other teams because he's not going to be noticed. And I think that's what's in his. If the words that came out of his mouth was I'm better off doing I'm not us, but I'm better off us doing a three-peat than coaching the Lakers, then that tells me he's more focused on the development of the players and his name and what he wants to accomplish in his own legacy versus what he wants to do in the NBA and in the league. If he wants to be in the league, then take over Popovich's spot when he's done. Take over one of these teams that are not doing well and develop them and make them good, and then it'll be all about you. But I think that's what it came down to. It's not going to be about him. The Lake Show has always been the freaking Lake Show. It has not been about anything else other than the players. That's what drew people in. When it hasn't really been about the coach. Even when Phil Jackson was there, it wasn't really about them. It was about Kobe and Shaq.
Nah.
Crazy.
Phil got his recognition just like Phil got his recognition in Chicago.
Well, Phil got his recognition in Chicago because he was already there.
Yeah, and then he got his recognition. Yeah, the first year that he came in, but when they started winning, who were they talking about? Were they talking about Phil Jackson? Or were they talking about Kobe and Shaq?
Yeah,
They always going to talk about the players. Exactly. That's the problem. You get these guys. I mean, guys, let's be real. Since 2011, the Lakers have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're on their 8th coach since 2011.
How many since LeBron came, Mark?
8. What year did LeBron show up?
5 years ago?
Was it 19?
Yeah,
18, something like that?
2019, 2018, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay, so you got Luke Walton, Frank Vogel, Darvin Ham, and now J.J. Redick.
So it started with Frank then.
No.
No, Luke Walton was there when he coached. No, Luke was there when he was. Yeah, Luke was already there. Let's take a look.
There's always been these retired players that have been coaches, especially for the Lakers. It was Luke, then Byron. His last name, I can't think of his last name, but Byron Sutherland. I think Chamberlain was on the team for a minute too, coaching. He's an assistant coach or something like that.
So LeBron showed up in 2018, 2019.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, Luke Walton was there his first year. That was Luke Walton's first year, his last year.
Last year.
Because Frank Vogel got there in 19.
Didn't Luke Walton coach before then too, for the Lakers?
Say that again, I'm sorry?
Didn't Luke Walton coach before for the Lakers too?
Luke Walton was actually the coach from 16 to 19. So he had the 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19. All of a sudden he gets LeBron in the 18-19 season, and next you know he's fired after that season.
Right.
Vogel won it in his first year, right?
Vogel
first
won
year,
it.
wasn't it? No? Second year?
They won it in 2020.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Was that Vogel's first year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but still, I mean, hell, that's like saying, hey, I might as well just have Byron Scott. Bring him back as a coach. I mean, they sucked anyway. They were 38 and 126 over Byron.
With Byron, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Luke Walton, they were 98 and 148. I mean, it just, for me, like I said, I don't believe in, it's just like, you know, y'all watch the movie Draft Day. You don't ever get a rookie quarterback. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, the rookie quarterbacks in the NFL are going to freaking suck.
Yeah, they don't know the game.
You just don't do it. There's a reason why it's that way, because they don't have the team. There's a reason why these guys, hey, yes, the Lakers went ahead and got a new coach. Yes, they made it to the playoffs. Everybody makes it to the damn playoffs. 60% of the NBA teams make it to the playoffs. So I'm sorry, we can no longer take that in consideration. Well, you let them to the playoffs. Everyone makes it. I feel like I'm watching Oprah. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. That's what the NBA is like.
Well, 40% didn't make it to the playoffs.
Give it time. Give it time.
We could look at it both ways. I mean, they could not make it to the playoffs.
That's because they suck that bad. Detroit, to me, in my personal opinion, if you have less than a 500 winning percentage, I don't care if you're the best in the division. In any sport, you should not be in the playoffs. You shouldn't be allowed.
I go with that.
That's my personal opinion. You know, hey, if you end up, I mean, I watched the Rams a couple years ago when they made the playoffs. They were, 7-9? I think it was. Shouldn't have made the playoffs. Whoever was supposed to play again, they should have got an extra bye. I'm sorry. If you can't win 500, have a 500 winning percentage in the NFL, in the NBA, in Major League Baseball, if you can't win 500, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. I don't care what they say. But it's the same concept. You're getting a rookie coach. You're paying for what you get, because why? They have too much money wrapped up in LeBron. They have too much money wrapped up in AD. So they got to figure out, where do I have the money? Let me go ahead and get a young rookie coach that's not going to sign for a very cheap deal. Now, I think the whole Dan Hurley thing, I think they knew he wasn't going to go anywhere. I think they're just trying to make it look like it, because at the end of the day, you got to remember, LeBron and JJ on the podcast were already talking about him becoming head coach. I think they just did it, and they knew, and this way it wasn't, hey, we're going to give you what you want, but we're going to have to get this guy, because I don't know about you guys. I'm sorry, I'm not turning down an extra $50 million unless if there's A, something wrong with the team, or B, it really isn't true.
Right.
Because if someone's offering me $10 more an hour, I'm going for $10 more a damn hour. I don't care. But let alone $50 million? Come on.
You don't turn them down.
Well,
You know the coach, and especially
well, it just depends the person. It could be more about, for you, it might be about the money. For me, it would be about the development, the name, and all that, because I know the money is coming after that. I mean, there's endorsements. There's all sorts of ways that I can make up that money. So it could be playing style. It could be whatever. Like for me, I will risk a whole year. Who was it? Was it Mike Bibby? I think Mike Bibby played for free one year. Was it Mike Bibby? Played for the Heat. He played for free one season so that they can win a championship. I think it was Mike Bibby that played for the Heat when they D-Wade won that year that they won. Might have been Mike Bibby. It wasn't Jason Kidd. It had to have been Mike Bibby. I think it was Mike Bibby. But anyways, yeah, because he came from the Kings. So it was Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby played on the Heat the year that Shaq and Wade won that championship. And because he said that it wasn't about the money, it was about them winning a championship. So not everybody is going to go after the extra amount of money. I understand that could be it's a significant difference, but again, if his name stamp is not on that could be a deal breaker for him. If it can't be his team and he has to deal with the fact that he's going to be in the shadows, or it's just going to be a confliction between him and a superstar, then that could be a deal breaker for him as well. So going back again, to my point is it just wasn't a fit for him, and it's not going to be. Every single team is not going to be a fit for every great coach that's in the college realm or just that is out there.
I've seen lots of college coaches that suck in the NBA. Rick Pitino couldn't hit water if he fell out of a freaking boat once he went to the NBA. But I tell you what, he sure could win a national title when he was at Kentucky. Played for a national title when he went to Louisville. John Calipari, he couldn't do nothing in. But yet John Calipari has the most first-round draft picks in NBA history. There are some people that are better at developing players and setting them up for future. But like I said, you got a guy like Dan Hurley. I really do think, I wish they would release the truth to it. But when you look at it, you have to say this. You got one of the supposedly the greatest of all time in LeBron James. But we've seen it himself, his persona, his ego, his attitude, and everything else. And then plus on top of that, him saying, you know what, hey, I got the chance to get my son, to have the opportunity to play ball with my son on the Lakers. Everyone's already said he's not. Can he be a good player? Eventually, he's a developmental player. The guy should not be in the NBA. If he comes,
he stated
number one, though.
He even stated himself in an interview when they asked him about it. He said he wanted, number one, that he doesn't want to be attached to his father's name and of what greatness that LeBron has already done, and that he sees himself as a role player and not even a superstar. So he already knows his role. He knows he's coming off the bench. He knows he's not even the best James out of both of them. Bryce is, and they acknowledge that. And so
I would take the mom before I took Bronny. I'm just saying. That's my point. If you watched him in college like I did, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but Mark, but the thing is, they're not going to have to spend a first-round draft pick on him. Ain't nobody going to draft him. They can draft him in the third or fourth round, and he get his son. It's not like they're going to waste a number one draft pick on him.
There's only 2 rounds to draft in the NBA. It's not like freaking NFL with
second round,
47 draft.
They don't even have to draft him.
They already said, you already know what's going to happen. I would be willing to put money on it. LeBron James get drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round. Bronny James.
No way.
They have a late teens, early 20s pick. I'm saying it right now.
Phoenix, Mavericks, and then Lakers were like the main ones that were going after him.
Nobody needs to go after me. I averaged 4.3 points in college for USC.
I know, but
hey. What Russell Westbrook wasn't a top scorer at UCLA, man. Look what ended up happening to him. See what I'm saying? And you never know.
You got a cat who's not even 6 foot tall. On that team. A team that actually should have won a national championship.
I'm comparing Bronny James to Russell Westbrook, bro. I'm trying to get you worked up, man. Is it working?
No, you can't. You can't say nothing. You can't say nothing at this point. You can't say no truth on this podcast right now, because Mark is definitely being a little biased here because he hates LeBron James.
I'm telling you this right now. LeBron James is one of the greatest players of all time. He's not the greatest. Bronny James does not deserve to be drafted. Again, I would select the mother before I picked Bronny James in the NBA draft.
Well, I would too, man. But
that is how bad this kid is. That is how bad this kid is. He has no respect. There have been multiple scouts that have said there's no reason why. They're looking at him because of the fact being that of his dad and what his dad has said. They think if we go ahead and draft Bronny James, we can get LeBron over to our freaking team.
Dude, this is crazy. The dude came off of a buddy arrest. The dude comes off. He was one of the best. He was one of the best scouts the year before, in the whole entire nation. Top 10 player in the whole entire nation the year before.
In high school.
In high school, and just like anybody else on how they get drafted.
This isn't Kevin Garnett, who's 6'10". This isn't Kobe Bryant, who's 6'7".
Yeah, let me know when you want me to finish.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. I'm a little
Okay.
excited here.
So he was top 10 in his class, had a chance to go to Ohio, decided to go USC, gets into a cardiac arrest, comes back from that, comes from playing off the bench, gets his experience, and now you're judging this man based on really nothing because he didn't he didn't play to the potential that he really has because Bronny is a decent player. Is he LeBron? Is he Michael Jordan? Is he Tatum? No, he's not. And he even stated that. Can he play ball? Absolutely. Is he smart? Absolutely. Does the dude have ball IQ? Absolutely. He might have 4 points or whatever, but he's still a factor. He's a person you have to pay attention to because at any moment he could shoot the rock. He could drive. He could do some phenomenal things. And we haven't displayed that yet because there's not enough time for him to develop. Still, did you watch his Columbine? Did you see him outbeat everybody in the Columbine? Those are the same people that are getting drafted in the draft.
I think the combine is a joke.
Oh my God. Bro, come on, dude.
The combine, what does the combine do? It lets you show, look how fast I can run with nobody playing for it. Look, I can shoot the ball with nobody guarding me. Look, I can dribble the ball with nobody guarding me. That's my big thing. That's where I'm like, the combine, yes, it shows what you have potential. But realistically, defensive minded, it does not show the type of player they are.
Yeah, but it can show you the kind of
this.
player you can't be. It can show you the kind of player you're not.
So we're going to
And
go
he
ahead.
does not
So,
have that kind
so
of
is
ability.
that so? My thing is this. So we're going to go ahead and judge everything off of potential.
No, absolutely not.
They're combined too, though.
Now my thing is this.
You still there?
I'm still here. My thing is this. Okay, you want to talk about combine, right? Let's talk about combine real quick. We just had the NFL combine not too long ago. Joe Milton was the top-rated quarterback.
Wow.
Are you still there?
You done set Mikey into a tailspin, bro.
I did. I'm gonna say this: Joe Milton was the best quarterback at the NFL Combine. He was drafted in the 4th round.
And then half of them didn't show up.
Are you there, Mikey?
Yeah.
Did I send you into a tailspin?
No.
All I'm trying to say is, look, my answer is this. Can Bronny have the chance to be a player in the NBA as a role player? Strong possibility. High potential. But to me, him coming out, there is no reason. Go to Ohio State because he's not going to go back to USC. Go back to college, get better, show more potential. Because I'm not the only person. I watch these analysts talk about him. I watch these guys on their sports shows talk about him. There is no reason why this kid needs to be coming out in the NBA. Unless if there's some type of thing that has to do with the dad. I'm sitting here looking at a story. It says, dare we ask, should the Sixers take Bronny James? Most of the talks Bronny James, everything involves LeBron James. Everyone thinks if I take Bronny James, I have the chance to get LeBron. Because he hasn't signed the player option. Remember, you guys, LeBron has a player option. He can walk away anytime he wants and go sign with whoever he wants.
I think you should sign with the Mavericks.
It's the heat all over again.
That's all. Exactly. I'm just saying, there's a scenario here, and LeBron has always said, "I want to have the opportunity to play basketball in the NBA with my son." So what does that leave?
Which he will.
Which he
But
has
is
the
it-
opportunity. Like I said, LeBron is a
Is it
great.
okay to have that aspiration?
No, there is nothing wrong with having
To
that
play with your son.
aspiration. There is nothing wrong with that. But what I'm trying to say is, why can't he go ahead and stay in college for one more year and actually prove himself? And actually show, look, guys, I
Why
can
can't
average
I-
more than 4.3 points a game.
Why can't I go to the NBA and develop with the best of the best and develop there? Even if I come off the bench with the best facility, with the best people, with the
Okay,
best
my
best
question is
coaches,
this.
the trainers, and
Okay,
everything
okay.
else. It's the same thing.
Good.
It's the same thing with it's just the same thing with the Ball brothers.
I'm
It's
gonna
the
say,
same
where's? Wait a second. Where's LiAngelo Ball?
He's better than
He
Bronny.
got in trouble.
The Hornets?
No, the other brother.
He was in the.
That's the other one, yeah.
yeah,
You
he's
got
better than
Lonzo.
Bronny.
You got
He's better than Bronny. He couldn't even get drafted.
exactly. I will take LiAngelo Ball over Bronny James.
Hey, wait a minute.
But that's
Mark, I gotta
that's
get you.
what I'm-
Mark, I gotta get you because you're a history guy here. I gotta say this before I duck on out of here. You made a perfect example for my point here, man. Talking about basically what you're talking about is nepotism here. You're talking about if it wasn't for LeBron, he wouldn't get drafted. I get it. We get the favoritism thing. It's only because of his dad. But I'm gonna tell you something, bro. I'm gonna see if you can name the player. There was a guy that played baseball, got drafted in the 150th round of the MLB draft back when they had a ton of rounds. I think it was like the 60th something round. Was a catcher, couldn't run, couldn't throw, was on nobody's radar because his godfather was the coach of a team. He got drafted only as a favor.
Are you going to ask a harder
Only
question
as
than
a
that?
favor, he was
Are you going to
drafted.
ask a harder question than this?
Hold on. Only as a favor to him and his not drafted to play for that team. He was drafted just to be drafted so he could say, hey, that way when he run into him at the family reunion, he can say, hey, at least I drafted the poor son of a gun. And the man should be in the Hall of Fame if he's not already in it. What's his name?
Huh? First off, you're talking about Pizza Boy himself, Mr. Mike Piazza, and the favor was because Tommy Lasorda was his grandfather.
There you go. You never know. It's
He
all
had
who you know,
he
man.
had the opportunity. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's where it's like, I'm not saying that Bronny can't be good, but I'm saying, no. Here's the catch. When you draft a guy like Mike Piazza in the MLB draft in the 62nd round, he didn't just come into the in Major League Baseball. It's like, yo, here I am. I'm ready to go. My godfather just drafted me. He had to go up through the minors. NBA doesn't have minors.
They have G League.
Good point. It's a good point.
Do you think Bronny James, you're going to spend a first round pick and draft Bronny James and send him to the G League?
He's not going to be a first round pick.
No way. First
Even
round.
a second round pick.
Well,
Even
LeBron-
a second round pick, guys. Let's be realistic. There's only 2 rounds in the NBA draft. He does not deserve to get drafted this year. And that is my statement. This year. He has to prove himself for another year in college. So, does he have potential? 100%. Is he the better James kid? No. I agree with you. 1,000,000%. Bryce is better. But this whole thing is because of what LeBron said. I want to have the opportunity. I don't know when I'm going to retire. I want to be able to play ball with my son. So what am I going to do? Because guess what? Bryce can't sit there and go to the NBA. Bryce still has, I think 2 more years in high school. Then he still has to go ahead and play 1 year in college or overseas.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this that just come across my phone? LeBron James expected to opt out of his player option.
Well, of course, he wants more money.
For what? He wants to be able to sign whoever. He was getting $50 million, guys.
Everybody opts out, man. Everybody opts out.
He's getting what he wants with the Lakers. He gets JJ Redick because that's his friend, and now he may get his son there too.
Yeah, to me, like I said, Yeah. I don't know. I appreciate you guys. We're going to finish up. We've obviously
Best show ever.
substantially passed our time. You thought we were going to go slow, but yeah, damn me fired up on this. So thank you guys. We appreciate y'all. We're going to dip out on this one. We hope you all have a good weekend.